I'm not even trying to get more for my pain and suffering. I just want justice. And I'm not asking for much. So, devil, you're a lie. We're going to get through this. And we're going to come out victorious. And you are going to go back to the pit of hell where you come from.
Carrollton, Texas. In today's news, there is a 2-year-old trapped inside a house fire. The fire was started by the father's girlfriend who set the father's bed on fire while he was sleeping. The father managed to rescue 4 of the 5 children who were inside. As it remains, there is still a toddler trapped inside the home. There are firefighters and first responders on the scene. I don't know how this is gonna turn out. We will keep you posted on the latest as the story develops. Reporting for Good News 1.
Hello, everybody, and thank you again for watching Overcomers After the Fire. So I wanted to just kind of dig in a little bit more on the court case, right? Because we kind of went through that, but there was some stuff that I dealt with that I felt like I could share with everyone to maybe help you get through some of the situations. So we go back to that court hearing, and the day of the hearing where, I'm going through court and I'm looking at all of the jurors and Tony, who set the fire. And it was a bit overwhelming to a point where I just got weak. I was just tired. I didn't want to talk about it anymore. I didn't want to have to experience it anymore. I just wanted everything to be over, but I knew I had to get through this moment. People were relying on me to get through this moment successfully. And that created a lot of pressure because I didn't know how to get through it. So I spoke and I told them everything the way I had explained it in the past. And the prosecutors were really coming at me like I didn't think that people could be that cruel, to a point where they were like, you set this house on fire. You killed your son, didn't you? You're trying to blame someone else for your mistakes. And while it hurt, I thought to myself, you unfortunate individual. Like, that's the worst you could do to a person. And they had no mercy. I mean, they kept coming and kept coming. And 8 hours in, I had to come down off the stand, and they said, we'll reconvene tomorrow. And I'm looking around like, tomorrow? So I go home that night and I pray. And I had some good family members around me who, they advised me, instructed me on some things to do. And it was real difficult. It was a time where I had to use everything that I'm talking about, my faith, and know that God was going to pull me through. And while I was there, I was trying to, speak life into the situation and plant seeds. If I met a bailiff or a police officer or anyone who came, to make sure that they felt the love of God, and thanked them for what they did, and my family, and hugged on them and loved on them, and was buying them food and whatever else you guys need. Just church trying to help out, right? Just keep planting seeds, keep loving people. Because I know that God's going to pull me through. I know that I'm going to come out a victor. I know it. Because I went through it. I seen it. I'm telling everybody what happened the way it happened. I didn't add to it. I didn't fabricate. I didn't even try to make it seem more one-sided, to make it, people try to sway the vote. I just told it the way it was. And I felt like if I did that, then people can decide for themselves. And in the back of my mind, I kept hearing, but people get wrongly accused all the time. The court system isn't built for a black man. They're not going to believe you over her. And I pushed through those. I said, yes, they will. I'm doing everything that God asked me to do the way that God asked me to do it. I'm not even trying to get more for my pain and suffering. I just want justice. And I'm not asking for much. So, devil, you're a lie. We're going to get through this. And we're going to come out victorious. And you are going to go back to the pit of hell where you come from. So I wake up that next morning and I'm feeling good. I'm refreshed. I'm ready to go. And I get in there and I'm crying in no time. I mean, I am boo-hooing in no time. But I said I didn't care. I didn't care how many feelings came out, how many times I cried. The story's going to get out. And she's going to be convicted. And I believed and I sunk all my faith into everything I was doing and saying. And I left and I felt good. And I talked to Braylon's mom and she was feeling good about everything. And we felt great. But my faith was tested. Remember in the last episode we talked about planting a seed, maintenance of seed, and you got to give it time. And I gave it time, and 2 months rolled by, 3 months rolled by. I get a call finally, and I'm driving down the highway, and I'm thinking, we got her. And they say, it's a hung jury. And we may have to go back to court. And all my steam just went out. And as I'm listening to my lawyer talk, I'm praying all at the same time. Like, Lord, why, how? I mean, really? I thought we were done with this. And I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. And God said, I'm not done. I'm not done. And I told the lawyer then, I was like, well, no problem. We can go back. Just let me know the date. And I remember I was flying down the highway. I was going to my office in Cleburne. I had a job site out there. And I'm riding and driving. And I had 45 minutes to think. And I thought of a good game plan. I said, if we go back to court, I'm driving it home. Like some of the people who told me I should have put a little more onto it, I should have. I should have really just drove it home and made everybody see that she was wrong. And I could have had them tearing up in that courtroom. And some were. I could have really sold it. And I was like, we go back, she's mine. I'm giving it to her. And a few weeks later, the prosecutor calls, maybe a month, and he's trying to offer deals. And I'm like, God, you didn't say nothing about a deal. I don't want it. I don't want it. And I called the kid's mom, and I'm like, this is what they're saying. I'm not having it. And she's like, maybe we do need to, blah, blah, blah. I'm not quite sure if she was for it or against it. I don't remember. I don't want to put anybody out there. But I just remember at that time, I was not for it. And I called my lawyer back and I said, you know what? We'd go through it again. I don't mind. Because I knew my faith was not going to fail me. I knew my God was not going to fail me. I knew our God was not going to fail me. And I prayed and I fasted and I prayed and I fasted. And I made sure I stayed in line with God and I was listening for every word. So I said, Lord, if you want me to do this deal, I'll do it. I can call him back and say we can go. But I never got that inclination to do it. So it made me realize, okay, I got to put my big boy pants.
Every session at the gym is about pushing your limits and sculpting a stronger you. That's why it's crucial to fuel your recovery with the right protein supplement. Discover the power of Isogenics. From moringa-infused smart mixes to plant-based proteins and advanced cell repair formulas, Isogenics supports not just muscle recovery, but your overall vitality. Experience the change and boost your strength with every product.
We got to go. We got to go back to court. And I'm gearing up. I'm getting ready, and I'm preparing. And he calls back and finally says, you know what? She felt like you've gone through enough and doesn't need to go through anymore. And she's ready to take this deal. And it was the better out of the three. And I had to, just think about it and say, Lord, you know what? It's not going to benefit me to chase this anymore. If I can get this conviction, it'll stop my family from having to go through all of this, and it'll stop my family from having to see me go through it. And I felt like God said the choice is yours. So while I had pushed through and I had all this faith and I'm planting seed and I'm thinking positive and I'm praying and I'm fasting and I'm moving through the situation, when I finally get the vindication, it doesn't feel like vindication at all. And that's what we have to realize sometimes. When we get vindicated, it doesn't feel like vindication at all. But we've got to humble ourselves. It's kind of like when you have an argument. You ever had an argument with a family member or your spouse? And you're arguing, and you guys are going at it, and they finally just say, well, you know what, you're right. Huh? You're right, I need to do better. Okay? Doesn't feel like vindication at all. Doesn't feel like you won. Because it's not about our pride. It's not about us saying, I got you. It's just about everybody understanding what they did wrong to move forward. And at that point, just like in a relationship or an argument, you don't keep going. You don't keep beating that person over the head and say, well, yeah, I see you know your ways, but you're going to change. But still, you shouldn't blah, 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 blah. You shouldn't do this. No, we can't do that. Especially as children of God. Our whole point is just to make sure that people move to the next phase. It's not about us. It's not about me saying I won. It's not about me saying, I beat her in court. It's not about any of that. And that's when I said, okay, let's do it. And when I said, okay, it lifted. Another weight lifted. And then at some point I had to forgive her. And I said, you know what? I forgive her. Another weight lifted. And I said, you know what? I forgive myself. Another weight lifted. Because it wasn't my fault. And I said, you know what? I can move on. I can move on. And let me tell you, there's nothing like having the peace of mind to be able to move on. And moving on is a big step. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of strength. It takes a lot of know-how. And I encourage anyone who is moving on from a certain situation or circumstance to go in courage, go in strength, go in power. Because you can do it. And the only people who don't move on are the people who don't move on. Because if you move on, you're going to go somewhere. You're going to do better things. You're going to do great things because you've learned from the previous experiences that you've gone through. So now that you have those experiences, put that in your backpack and go forward. So I've got my backpack on with all my lessons in them, and I'm moving forward. I got me a place. I got me an apartment. I had started a couple businesses at this point. I'm moving forward. Forgiving myself. That's the hardest thing to do, is forgive yourself. Because I thought it was my fault. I thought I had some responsibility in it. I thought there was no reason for me to move forward until I rectified the situation. And then I realized it wasn't that at all. I've got some responsibility in it. But God knew this before I even came to this earth. God knew what I was going to go through. He knew the fights that I was going to have. He knew the circumstances I was going to be in. He knew the situations I was going to be in. And if he didn't stop it, neither could I. And if he allowed this to happen, then it's for a reason. And it's for a purpose. And if I question him, I have to question my whole existence. Because all of my life, God has blessed me. I've gone from miracle to blessing, to miracle, to supernatural miracle, to financial breakthrough, to you name it. So if I'm going to question now, I've questioned everything else. And everything else has worked. So I decided not to question and just go. Just go. And sure enough, like clockwork, things opened up. Blessing after blessing after blessing. We needed a shop for our job, and we didn't have one. And we had, true story, we had about $10, $20, not much. And I told my partner at the time, I said, hey man, we need to go out here. So you kidding me? Yeah, we need to go out. God is saying, it's something over here. I don't know what it is, but we got to get out there. He said, man, we don't have money to even get back. It's like, that's okay. We're gonna be okay. We're gonna find a way, but we just got to get out there. So we did. We drove about an hour from Dallas at the time over to Cleburne, Texas. And we went to a few job sites and just told people what we were doing. Remember, at this time, I'm taking over my grandfather's business. So I'm just trying to get contracts to paint heavy equipment. I've been doing it all my life. Can't be that hard. And we got no after we don't need the service, after no. And I said, Lord, I know you. You wouldn't send me out here for no reason. You wouldn't send me out here. And we see this little shop over on the corner. And I said, pull in there. So we go in, we talk to the guy, and he says, man, are you guys serious? You really know what you're doing? And I had a booklet that I had made up of my grandfather's previous work. And I would show him the book and I said, hey, this is some of the work we did. This is some of the things we were promising. And he was like, okay, well, I got some work for you. We said, really? He said, yeah. Where's your shop? And I was like, I currently don't have one, but if you have some space here on the yard, we could just use that space, because at this time, it was okay to do that. It was okay to paint and sandblast outside. It wasn't, very strict, ordinances against it, but it was. And there were some environmental concerns I do understand, which is why we don't do it anymore. But that was the way we grew up doing it. So I learned that way. So he said, no, I don't have a place here. But if you can find a place, I got plenty of work for you. I got about 10 trailers I need done. And for those of you who don't know, 10 trailers, about $25,000, $30,000 worth of work. So at this point, I'm like, well, we will get a shop and we will let you know. I will let you know where I'm at. We will be back. And he said, well, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and give you guys a deposit now so you can get what you need, the materials. And just let me know where you're at and I'll come and drop it off. We said, thank you, Lord. So we left there with a check now and we got to go cash it because we got to get back home. So we're looking for this guy's bank and he calls and he says, hey, I got a buddy up the street that says he's got a shop that he can let you guys rent. And me and my buddy looked at each other like, what? He said, yeah, it's about 5 minutes from where I'm at. If you're still in town, I'll take you guys over there. So we whipped a U-turn, get back over to this guy's shop. He take us to the other gentleman's shop. And it's a huge, the shop has got to be 50,000 square feet of shop. And then he's got 10 acres outside the shop. So we sit and we talk with him and we negotiate this deal, and I think we work out something like $500 a month. It was just miraculous what God was doing. So we said, yeah, don't pay me nothing right now. Just get in here, get some work, and just pay me as you go. Doors opening. Just opening. So we get back and we get the check cash. We get us some food. Oh man, we ate good that day. We had a good time. And then I said, you know what? I need to assemble a crew. So I started creating these training videos of, what was expected and what we needed to do and what the roles and responsibilities were. And people just called me and said, hey, I got a buddy who needs a job. Hey, I got a friend who needs a job. Hey, I got a boyfriend who needs a job. Hey, can you give this person a job? So we took all those guys in. We trained them, and in a van, we would take them out 100 miles. Take them out, and we go work, and we drive.
Every session at the gym is about pushing your limits and sculpting a stronger you. That's why it's crucial to fuel your recovery with the right protein supplement. Discover the power of Isagenix. From moringa-infused smart mixes to plant-based proteins and advanced cell repair formulas, Isagenix supports not just muscle recovery, but your overall vitality. Experience the change and boost your strength with every product.
We drive back home the end of the day. And I said that story because I want you to understand how God works. It's not within the realms of our minds and what we think is possible. It's not. But if we stick to it, and if we go and be courageous, and if we put our faith into it, and if we give it time to cultivate, God works it out every single time. But we've got to do our due diligence. We're not exempt from the work. Actually, the Bible says faith without works is dead. So we've got to get in there. We've got to go. You got to leave people behind. There were some people told me I couldn't do it. I left them behind. There were some people who were supposed to go with me and decided at the last minute they didn't want to participate. I left them behind and we went and God blessed. So no matter what you're going through, God will pull you through it. And he did just that for me. He'll do it for you. I'm no better than you. I just put together a solution, a formula for life based off of the principles of God. I continue to sow. I continue to have faith. I continue to fast and pray. I continue to listen for the Lord. I continue to work for God. I continue to volunteer and do everything I can to help others. And God blesses. And even at my height, when I didn't think it was going to work, I didn't think I wasn't even in my right mind. It never departed from me. I never forgot God. I never forgot how to pray. I never forgot to seek God first. But I forgot how to cook. I forgot it had been 3 or 4 days and I hadn't taken a shower. I had forgotten who I was. I had forgotten all of the gifts that I had. I had forgotten everything I thought. But I didn't forget who God was. I didn't forget how to praise him. I didn't forget how to pray. And that's what brought me out. I had this PPW is what I would call it. Pray, praise, and worship. And that's my daily go-to is PPW, pray, praise, and worship. I wake up in the morning, I pray, I praise, and I worship. In the afternoons, I may pray, praise, and worship. In the evening, I pray, praise, and worship. And we talked about it in the previous episodes, but there are differences in prayer, praise, and worship. And you've got to know the differences and you've got to be able to apply them accurately, seamlessly into your life every single day. Because at the end of the day, we're asking God to bless us. So bless him. Bless him. Give it all you got. Stay in God's face. Stay in communication with the Lord. Continue to help others. Push through hard situations as if they were easy. Walk bold in faith, knowing that God is going to come through. Separate yourself from the people who don't like you, from the people who are not trying to help you. Separate yourself. And push and grind and go. Pay attention to the seasons. Know when it's time to seed. Know when it's time to get your harvest. And God will continue to do miraculous things for you. And always, I tell everybody, always seek to know more, to be more, to do more. I remember at one time I would ask God, just use me. I don't care how. I just want you to use me. And he did. And I put myself in what I call a receiving position. I was ready. I was prayed up. I was fasted up. I separated myself. Lord, give it to me. I'm ready. And my knees started to hurt and my shoulders. And it took much longer than I thought. But God gave it to me. So I hope I've encouraged you. I hope I've helped you in some way. This is kind of wraps up the court case aspect of this series. We're going to talk more. I've got plenty more to share with you. Please share with your friends, and please like and comment. And if there's something that I haven't covered that you'd like me to cover, please do share that. And also don't forget to donate, donate, donate. It helps. It helps me help other people. And I'm determined to help as many people as I can. Many people as I can. And I know it's going to be with your help and the help of the Lord. So I pray that you are blessed. I pray that your family is blessed. I pray that God guides you through every situation that you're going through, and that you come out a sweet victor, more than a conqueror. I pray that God continues to give you favor and your family favor. And I pray that the adversities in your life diminish. I hope you got something from this. God bless you.